things that I'm hearing on Lansing is that they're trying to stop deals like this from where there's a reimbursement back to the municipality.
Administration fee.
Yeah. So I don't particularly care for it. I like, look at it from a performance standpoint rather than an administration fee or a stipend or whatever you want to call it.
So, from this point forward, we're going to monitor, we're going to keep track of area towing and their performance? Or is that?
No, what we're saying is that in the future, when the RFP goes out for bid,
Right.
we're going to have a requirement that you must be capable of doing this in this amount of time to clear the road. And sometimes what that means is that people that don't have equipment will have to possibly buy equipment, or if they're not capable of meeting that requirement.
Okay, this contract's now till, when does the contract expire?
2017, I think.
Well, it's 3 years, so.
2016.
2016,
I believe.
Yeah, 2006.
Right around November.
So this wasn't an extension of any sort, it's just the same contract with alterations.
Pricing alterations, right. And there's some other benefits, I think credit cards is being added, and there's a customer feedback procedure, so there'll be a more direct way for the company and the city to get feedback from people, whether it's positive or negative feedback.
And that's a great point because the feedback is critical. Unfortunately for us, we just hear when people get a bill that they don't like, and so the feedback looks like it's totally one-sided. And maybe that's the case right now, but I think with the new structure and the feedback, I think it's going to really give us, it's going to open our eyes to what people are looking for other than just what the city's looking for.
Well, in the packet that was put together, there were a number of letters that have been received that were positive, so the people coming to council, I think like any customer service issue, you hear more about the negative than the positive, but in the packets that we had, it does balance out a little bit that there are people who are satisfied and we're grateful for the type of service or the cost of that service. So it doesn't change the fact that we had some pricing issues that we needed to adjust, but that's done. And there were people that, like I said, were satisfied with that service. So
And those letters were all dated.
Who supplied that packet?
Tonight.
Area?
it was supplied to us.
By area with the positive feedback?
No, from myself, sir.
Okay, and that was sent to you?
Yes,
The
yes.
the positive feedback was
Yes.
sent to you, not to area towing?
No, to me. Okay, if I could just add one more note, just because I know this has been so controversial, what I did provide to the members of the work group was a binder that looked like this. And what it also included was tow bills from numerous other towing companies in the area. And if you were to look at the rates, they're not too far off of some of the things we've received complaints on in the past. So we did our due diligence, we went out there, did all the research, and for whatever reason, the tow rates we've seen at some of the area tow companies just don't receive the attention that we've been dealing with here, but I just want to make sure you knew that.
Well, Taylor's the largest city downriver. I mean, we're very attractive to a lot of competitive companies, and my goal in this was to protect, not just the residents of the city of Taylor, but anybody that is impacted while in the city of Taylor. What I wasn't trying to accomplish is trying to get rid of any one company or add to any one company. I just wanted to put a structure in place, and I think that's what the work group accomplished, was that structure that we definitely needed. The previous contract, that's what it didn't have. It just didn't have the details. I mean, the details are right here in this itemized bill schedule. I mean, at least we know now what fees can be charged and how much, rather than the surprise gate fees or surcharges or cleanup charges. Those weren't spelled out in the original contract. They were just arbitrarily added.
Well, I think back when...
And they were added by all the towers locally, not just one company. It was, I mean, if you look at the bills, they're all doing the same thing.
Well, back when this was first approved, 6 years ago, I had argued at council that there should be something in there for Taylor residents. And so now we have it.
I was gonna add, I had talked to you one time about this right back when we first were voted in, and you said something about you'd like to see two towing companies in here.
In the future, I think the philosophical belief that I have is that anywhere you have two, you have competition.
Right.
So I think that's just healthy. And I think you want to be careful because I know that like in our neighboring city next door, they're looking at adding as high as many as 4. I mean, you have to remember, that's 4 salvage yards as well. And I think, we don't want that necessarily in Taylor, but I think you would definitely want to have some competition. It doesn't hurt anybody to have competition.
Well, they're unique over there too, with the airport divided all up.
Yeah.
To get the response time and stuff, you would have to have more, I would think.
I don't understand the dynamics over there for sure. I just know that if you want, yards over there and you get, potentially adds 4 salvage yards. And I'm saying the politically correct term.
Well, if I could just, from my perspective from the police department, I would just like to caution that anything more than 2 would be a logistic problem for the police department to manage. Logistically, it would be a nightmare.
Well, and I don't know, you know better than me, but 2 might even be a problem based on the services that they're providing in terms of Secretary of State and auctions. So I think the competition comes from the bidding process, not necessarily from having 2 companies provide the same service at a price that we've already
Good.
dictated to them.
Yeah, I mean, again, the philosophical belief is that competition's good. I mean, we would have to work out all the details, but there's border challenges. If you divided the city on Goddard Road and there was an accident on Goddard Road, who would respond and who would, there's details that would have to be spelled out. Yeah. Yeah.
I think another great thing could be like in the next contract, which I'm sure we all agree on, is that it be brought forth to council.
We would probably do something
Do
similar.
like a 3-year contract with each year, kind of like the cleaning crew.
We would,
That way, if it is out of hand, we can just say, hey, we're going on. And I think that's what helps if we have a second one, that if one's not making the grade, we have somebody there to take up until we get a second.
we would probably do something similar by forming the work group just for the RFP. This is not like, an RFP for a cleaning contract. I mean, this draws a lot of attention.
Right.
And having as much involvement as possible is good, especially from the council members who have to deal with this every other Tuesday
Right.
when somebody shows up. At least, you guys have involvement, you understand all the dynamics. So we'll definitely, it'll be an inclusive process. And we may find that there's things that were missed in this. I mean, it may not be perfect. We may have to continuously improve on it, but, that's what we're willing to do. This is a lot better than we are currently operating under, that's for sure. And thank everybody that came in and, donated their time to work on this, because I know that a lot of work was put into it. And, I think the outcome is definitely a win for the city of Taylor and a win, hopefully, for the residents affected by this.
Did you want to say anything about the pothole program? Or do you want to?
Well, we had another meeting today about the potholes, and I don't know, we could talk about some of the basics, but, we're definitely by Wednesday going to roll out some changes. The potholes are very ugly in the city of Taylor. Today we had a meeting with the DPS director and the police chief and executive director and Councilman Woolley, Councilman Johnson. They sat in on it. Jason was there, and we're looking at, the risk management side of the potholes and how that's affecting the city of Taylor. But what we're trying to do is, we're looking at it from a budget standpoint. Can we add more crews, or can we increase overtime and focus on getting these potholes, the severe ones, at least addressing them and getting them filled in? And how do we do it? So we're trying to look through the budget process, look through the planning process, and by Wednesday we're going to meet again, and we're likely going to roll out a new approach that basically when somebody calls in or when they post something online with a photo, the key is the photo because we can gauge it if we can see it, that we're going to respond within a 48-hour window of addressing that pothole. So at least, we're actively responding to the request.
To add to that too, which I think is great too, is the police officers are also going to be on patrol, and if they see something, they're automatically going to get back with Mr. Mackey or Mr. Mack. And so there's a good plan there, it's just that we gotta make sure that we're able to do it, budget.
Yeah, we weren't sure, and we're still not sure if it's adding a third crew, because right now we have 2 crews, correct? Dave, 2 crews? And so we're evaluating it to see if we have enough in the budget to add a third crew for a handful of weeks to try to get the whole city covered. I mean, and then it's all predicated on that there's no more snow. I mean, because if it snows, it's like it erases the whole city and we gotta start over again.